The official story is that H.B. McLain rode beside Marion Baker in the motorcade, and McLain himself has always said that, too.
Okay, we came down Main Street, made a right turn on to Houston, and I stopped right directly across the entrance to the old jail.
But Marion Baker says that his partner riding on the left with him was J.W. Williams. And he says J.W. Williams, who was a motorcycle officer, was, I thought, over on the left-hand side of me, and he was right with me. But as I ran in this building, I found out that I was by myself. And he even talked to J.W. Williams afterwards at Parkland Hospital. I don't think it's credible to think that Marion Baker didn't remember who his partner was in the motorcade on the day that the president was shot, and I don't think he's lying. So I take this as a fact that his partner was J.W. Williams and that H.B. McLain is lying. This is from the motorcade assignment sheet for the day, and H.B. McLain is on the sheet. He's assigned to the motorcade, and J.W. Williams is not on the sheet. So I'm saying this is incorrect. This written document is not correct. This is also from the presidential visit assignment sheet. And J.W. Williams, we can see, is assigned to something. He's assigned to the motor pool at the Trade Mart. This also is incorrect. And I think what this shows is the documents were designed to support the official story being that H.B. McLain was assigned to ride in the motorcade, and that he did ride in the motorcade. But unless you think Baker was lying, that can't be true. It had to be J.W. Williams. So I'm saying this is also incorrect. And this document shows the motorcycles that each motorcycle officer took out on the 22nd, and it shows that H.B. McLain took out bike number 352, and that J.W. Williams took out bike number 354. And if we look at the photo, which shows the officers in question here, the number on the bike is 352. So it also supports the official story. That is, whoever's there took out the bike that McLain took out. Or I should say, whoever's there is riding the bike that McLain is supposed to have taken out. I'm saying this is wrong. I'm saying this, either the paperwork is falsified to support the story, or the officers switched motorcycles. So there was a conspiracy to make it seem as though H.B. McLain was riding in the motorcade when J.W. Williams was actually there, because it is not credible that Marion Baker made a mistake. It is not credible that he forgot who was riding beside him in the motorcade on the day that the president was shot. That's not credible, and he's not lying. McLain is lying. And one indication of McLain lying is his testimony to the HSCA here. Dodd asks him, I just wanted to get the clarification on these and your identification. In the first photograph here, you identified the motorcycle closest to us in the picture as your motorcycle, and you are on it. How did you identify there? The way I am sitting on it, just the way I ride it. But is there anything that distinguishes your bike itself that you are able to identify? No, sir. And the picture they're talking about is a frame from this film. It might not be this precise frame, but it looks something like this. And he's saying he can identify himself in that picture by the way he's riding it. And here McLain claims that he was riding in the general vicinity of Vice President Johnson's car. But that's not where Baker and his partner were riding. They were assigned to fall in behind camera car number 3, which is 6 cars back of Johnson's car. And they would move. In the photography you can see they're either behind car 12 in here, or they're in front of car 12. They're never further away than that. They're never in the vicinity of LBJ's car. So McLain, I think, is revealing that he doesn't know what he's talking about, and it's because he wasn't actually in the motorcade. He's lying, and Baker is correct. So, in my view, there's absolutely no doubt about it. Marion Baker and J.W. Williams were partners in the motorcade. There was a conspiracy to hide that fact because H.B. McLain was already in Dealey Plaza, ready to perform a conspiracy task, and they wanted the evidence to indicate that he was in the motorcade, so that if anyone saw him in Dealey Plaza, they could be shown to be wrong because all of the other evidence would say he was in the motorcade. And the only reason I found out about this is because Marion Baker was not in the loop. He was just a good, honest cop, and he told the Warren Commission who was riding beside him in the motorcade. It's almost universally believed that this is Officer Baker running towards the Texas School Book Depository in the Darnell film, because he did go into the building, we know that, but this is not he. This is H.B. McLain, and an effort was made to cover this up because McLain is performing a conspiracy task. Baker told the Warren Commission that he parked 10 feet east of that light post there, where the red arrow points to, and the running motorcycle officer came from the motorcycle where the blue arrow points to. So Baker did not park where the running motorcycle officer parked, so he's not the same officer. In fact, Baker himself told the Warren Commission that he thought it was J.W. Williams running into the building. So what he's saying here is that he saw this motorcycle officer running into the building while he was still on his motorcycle. And Baker was approaching the light pole while this motorcycle officer was running. That's why Darnell is panning his camera over there. He's not following the running motorcycle officer. He's panning over to where he hears another motorcycle coming. And you can see in the first picture there is a frame from the film where a cowboy man is turning to look at the motorcycle he hears coming. Second frame, you can see there's a girl who's turned to look where the motorcycle officer is coming from. And in the third frame there, you can see that cowboy man has stopped. He has stopped because there's a motorcycle coming, and if he keeps walking, it'll hit him. And also in the third frame, on the right of the frame, is a man walking who's in a different focus, a different contrast. He was placed into this film in order to block the front wheel of Marion Baker's approaching motorcycle. So the Darnell film was altered to hide the fact that there are two motorcycle officers running towards the building, because the official story only allows for one, and that's Marion Baker. So they want us to think that that's Marion Baker there, but that's really H.B. McLain, and I'll show why it is later or afterwards. And they need to hide this because McLain is doing a conspiracy task. He's not running into the building. And the reason I know this is H.B. McLain, aside from there being a limited number of possibilities, is that Garland Slack, the FBI wrote up a report of an interview of Garland Slack, who happened to be in Dealey Plaza when JFK was shot, and they wrote down a name which does not correspond to a Dallas police officer. The name they wrote down was H.B. Randall. We have a list of the entire contingent of Dallas police officers for November, and there isn't a single Officer Randall on the entire list. And there's only one HB, and that's H.B. McLain. I think Garland Slack happened to know H.B. McLain for some reason, and he said his name, and the FBI knew enough not to put his name in the report. So the FBI is covering up the fact that H.B. McLain is still in Dealey Plaza when we are told that he was on the way to Parkland Hospital. McLain apparently did eventually go to Parkland Hospital, and he has been identified by the 6th Floor Museum as this officer here in this photograph, but I have proven in a recent video, as I demonstrated, that this is actually an officer named James H. Taylor, And the reason he's being conflated, I think, is that they want us to think that it's McLain and that he's wearing the leather jacket. The leather jacket will turn up before the end of the video again, but I've proven, as I said, that's James Taylor. So I think McLain was being used as a kind of a decoy here to confuse the issue of James Taylor, who was an important actor in the conspiracy activities of the day. And the reason I think that McLain really was at Parkland Hospital was in 2003, at least, he told what's his name, Steve Fagan of the Sixth Floor Museum, that he escorted LBJ to Love Field. And Chief Curry is driving this car here. So probably one of the two motorcyclists in this video is McLain, but the quality is not good enough to identify him. I've seen this officer at the police station identified as McLain, and I think it's McLain, though I can't read his name tag. I think it looks like him. Looks like the same guy you see as an old man. And I'm going with it. And this is the same officer who can be seen bringing a leather jacket into the homicide and robbery office and placing it on the desk inside, which seems to be an odd thing to do. If it's his own jacket, you would think he would just keep it with him, that he wouldn't be expected to put it down inside on Captain Fritz's, it's not Fritz's personal desk, but inside the homicide and robbery office. I would think he would wear it instead of put it down. So what I think this means is that when he went to Love Field, both he and James H. Taylor were there, and I think Taylor gave him his jacket and expected him to be photographed with it when he went back to the police station. He might not even have told McLain why. He might have asked him to bring his jacket to the homicide and robbery office, and that might be why he's bringing it in here, just to confuse this issue, because I didn't discuss it much in this video, but Taylor is concerned that he's going to be recognized as the police officer at Oswald's arrest, and he wants to confuse the leather jacket issue, I think. And McLain, when he's at the police station here, seems to be in communication with that little woman in the doorway of the homicide and robbery office. And it looks like they know each other, and she looks like she's a little pissed about something. But anyway, she looks an awful lot like Linnie Mae Randall. The two insert pictures are of Linnie Mae Randall, and that's Fraser's sister. And I won't go over the significance of Linnie Mae and Fraser. If you're watching this, you probably already know about them. And for me, this encounter brings in mind the document we've already gone over here, the FBI document that quotes Garland Slack as seeing Officer H.B. Randall in Dealey Plaza. It's spelled differently than Linnie Mae Randall's last name, but I think it's an interesting coincidence that seemingly here H.B. McLain is being associated with the name Randall, and in the police station it looks as though H.B. McLain is talking to Linnie Mae Randall, and perhaps that's more than a coincidence. So to summarize a few points in the video, J.W. Williams, not H.B. McLain, was riding beside Marion Baker in the motorcade. H.B. McLain, not Marion Baker, is seen running towards the Texas School Book Depository in the Darnell film. McLain stayed in Dealey Plaza rather than going immediately to Parkland Hospital, and McLain is associated with the Randalls, and the FBI knows it, and covered it up. But I guess I have to admit, I still don't know exactly where in hell he is.